Good morning, guys. It's your girl, Nurse Sharita Bonita. I'm back again. I know it seems like I'm pushing these videos out rather quickly. Like I told you guys, I'm gonna do better, that I was gonna do better for this semester, if I have the time. And so far, you guys, I do have the time. This semester is going pretty easy breezy so far. I already had my first day of clinicals. I had it Tuesday, this past Tuesday. Today is Friday, and I didn't get to film on the way to clinicals because one of my classmates called. So I didn't even get to film on the way to clinicals. I didn't film after clinicals because my sister called, one of my sisters called. So it was that kind of setup. But I told myself the next clinicals, I'm not taking no phone calls during that time. I didn't even get to film leaving clinicals because I left with my instructor. We were the last two people to leave because we were talking. So you guys didn't even get to see that much. So I'm gonna try, to get some generic footage, like I said, just on the way, leaving, not on the floor. That's one thing I won't be able to do. So y'all won't see me with nothing like that on the floor kind of stuff going on. So this is early morning. I don't have class today because I don't have class on Wednesdays and Fridays, thankfully. I only have class 2 days a week, Monday and Thursday. And aside from that, I have my clinicals on Tuesdays. I have to tell you my experience and thoughts from the first day of clinicals. It was a 12-hour day. To be honest, it went by fast. We probably spent maybe a few hours actually just downstairs in the lobby, just talking, getting to know each other, introducing ourselves, the instructor going over paperwork, kind of thing, before we did anything else, before we went up to the floor. She even gave us a little walkthrough of the hospital, just a little bit, just the area that we will need to come through, the a couple entrances to our floor and stuff like that, because from now on we'll be meeting on the floor, not in the lobby. So she just wanted to make sure that we all knew how to get to the floor, kind of thing, from the different entrances. So we did that for a while, and then we got on the floor. We probably got on the floor a little after 9, probably. Actually between like 8 something, 9. And so we kind of went to the break room. We met. The break room, you got to be badged in to even get into that break room. So, sorry guys. So she definitely had to let us in to that. That's where we put our stuff. And then she went to the floor. She had us practice log into the computer, the EHR, and we did that. Oh, we also did a scavenger hunt. So she showed us around our actual floor, and during that time we were doing a scavenger hunt that we had paperwork for. She showed us where the supply room was at, what was in the supply room, how to find the different things that we would need to locate on our particular floor, with a medication cabinet, and all of this stuff was questions on our scavenger hunt. So basically we was able to fill out our whole scavenger hunt just within this time. So by the time she assigned us patients, it was probably like after 10, or close to 10 o'clock. And so once she assigned us a patient, I'm sorry, we had one patient kind of thing, that was good. We just basically knew we had to do a head-to-toe assessment on our patient and things like that. I just went in my patient's room because I wanted to make sure I introduced myself to my patient, that my patient knew who I was, in which my patient had some family members that was coming, kind of thing. So I just basically arranged their room so that it would be comfortable for the family visitors that they were going to have coming. And then after that, we just, like, before I even went for lunch kind of thing, which was lunch was around 12:30. I let my patient know, his visitors was gone. I let my patient know that, hey, I'm going to lunch, I'll be back. Because it's very important to make sure you communicate with your patient, not just the patient, but the nurse that was over my patient. I let her know. It's important you let your CNA know as well. And also we before lunch, vital signs are usually 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. So of course, I didn't have to do the 7 o'clock vitals because, like I said, we wasn't even on the floor at that time. So that wasn't me. I'm sorry, I'm putting my sun visor up. Sorry guys, I'm just being all kind of ways noisy. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so I made sure that I do that, and like I said, it's important that you do that. What happened after? During the time that my patient had visitors and before, that's the time to go ahead and go through your patient's chart to see what's going on with your patient, because when we get assigned our patient, we get like the normal basic information of our patients, just the very basic, the age, reason for being admitted, and that's basically it kind of thing. So it's your responsibility as a nurse to go through that patient's chart and pick out and pull out any information that you feel will tell you more about this patient, what's going on with the patient. So during the time I was able to go through my patient's charts, to introduce myself to my patient, to do a physical look over. Like I said, I wasn't able to do my head-to-toe assessment yet because he had visitors that was coming, and I had to get his room set up for that. But I made sure I was able to do a look over, a visual look over of my patient. So to help me, assess the situation with my patient, to be able to do actually, you can do most of your half of your head-to-toe assessment by just looking at your patient. If your patient is alert and oriented, times 4. You can do that quickly by listening to your patient speak back to you. They can speak. They can talk if they speak back to you. They or alert if I'm sorry guys. I have mucus build up. You know, if they're visually following you, they know that they can see you, they are alert to what is going on. You can do that type of assessment just through observation. You can observe if your patient is mobile, non-mobile, impaired mobile. You can do that, you know, just by looking and talking to your patient and things like that. So, but like I say, during that time that my patient had family coming and was with his family, I used that time to dive in and investigate into his chart, into his records. Some of the things that I looked for was if there was any issues with his blood values, any blood values that was too high, too low, and what blood values correlated with what he was admitted for and need to constantly be monitored. And why was he admitted for this particular problem? Also investigated for that. Trust and believe the patient's charts will tell you everything that you need to know. You just really have to know what you're looking for and how to look for that particular information within the chart. I also looked for particular medications. I jotted down what these medications was for. You can find that out within the chart as well. So you can just basically get most of your information from the chart. Which was helpful because when my instructor did come to me later in the day, I think it was before lunch actually. It was before we went to lunch. I was able to answer all of her questions, and basically the information that she wanted to know was why did I think my patient, I had a wound care, why did I feel my patient had that kind of wound that they had, what was the issue leading up to that, which I was able to articulate because like I said, I had already dissected my patient's chart to find that kind of information, and what kind of what lab work did I think needed to be monitored and was important in my patient's diagnosis, which I was able to articulate that too because I had already, like I said, dissected the patient's chart. So that was just basically kind of, you know, what we did on that situation. And so after I came back from lunch, we did a tour of the ICU with another group, class group. So that was very interesting. And after that, you know, just basically back to assessing your patient, seeing what your patient's needs were. So after that, that was my time to see how my patient's pain level was going, because you always want to ask and assess the patient's pain level. If they are in pain, or even if they're not, my patient was in pain because of his wound that he had. So it was and I had to really make sure I knew the medication that my patient was on, currently on, things like that, and the time frames the patient was on the medication. And so when I came back, I did my head to toe assessment of my patient. I explained to my patient what it was that I was doing. And in med surg on this floor, there's computers in every patient's room. So I was able to actually ask my patient questions and actively put the information in the computer right then while I was talking to my patient, which I'll have to tell you, I love that. I really enjoyed that. Because when we were on rehab, the computers was not in the room. So we spent most of the time accessing the computers outside of the room, taking a lot of notes, which is fine. But I found it to be better when the computer's right there in the room and I'm with my patient and I can go through all my questionnaires right there. And I know the questions because they're right there in front of me on the computer screen. So to me, that's more helpful than leaving the room and realizing, okay, there's some more information I need to know. You know what I mean? So I just found it was better to have all my information right there um, to my fingertips while I'm speaking to my patient, and I don't have to worry about forgetting, what I'm asking, you know. So it's important too, if you have a patient that has a urine collection, you definitely have to document how much urine has been collected. In which there's numbers on those things, whether they're using a urine jug or if they're using a urine hat in the bathroom, things like that. Um, and on our med search floor, we are responsible for washing our patient, getting our patient washed. I didn't have to worry about that with mines, because mines, they had been a refusal, according to the staff, to do that, which was fine with me, but it's still something that I talked about with the patient, because it's also our job to educate the patient. I didn't have to educate the patient on it, but I did spoke to the patient about it, to see, okay, well, if you don't want to do hygiene care, do you want me to change your gown? Let me change your gown, and they can refuse. If they refuse, it's a refusal, and that is it. So, guys, that is pretty much how my first day of clinicals at MedSurg went. There's not more to that. I did watch them administer different medications to my patient. I watched them start an IV with my patient. Only reason why I wasn't able to do the IV myself is because they were having not the best time, getting the IV inserted. It took them 2 times, vein finder later, to get that accomplished. So I didn't have no part of that. So I didn't get to do that, with my patient. Hopefully the next patient I will be able to do something, because with MedSurg, with us being second semester, our instructor want us to be able to practice firsthand everything we can practice doing. So that'll be a lot of what I'll be getting into MedSurg this semester. So, guys, that's all of my updates so far. And like I said, if you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comment box below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'm out. Much love. Hope you guys enjoy your day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.